Alright everyone, we're now 3 days out until actual election day. Of course, November 5th, everyone pile into the polls. Big shout out to all the mail clankers out there. I really hope that you're voting. You see, we need to get out the vote for men because women tend to tilt more towards the liberal side of politics, and the tragic irony is that women could end up destroying many of their fundamental rights and ruining the economy and for themselves in the process by voting for Harris. So men, you need to march to the polls. I think early voting is over in most states at this point. I'm not 100% sure state by state. If you're not registered, in a lot of states you can register same day, so fucking get out and vote. Here's another pitch for Donald Trump. He's going to have Ron Paul informally aboard with Elon Musk assisting to try to cut government waste and spending if he's elected. This was spoken of yesterday. To any libertarian-leaning people out there, maybe you're on the fence about Trump because you're like, well, I'm more of a classical liberal libertarian and, he's only got some overlap with me. Again, what more do you want? You're anti-war. What more do you want? You get the first and certainly Republican president in ages that didn't start a war or expand one that was existing. You want tax relief. What more do you want? You've got a person running for office that's at least musing over the possibility of getting rid of the income tax, among a number of other taxes already pledged to be removed, overtime work and things like that, tips. With that being popular enough that Kamala Harris has repeatedly copied his homework over and over again. Only one of the candidates would actually do such a thing, though, pointing out, of course, if the Trump tax cuts lapse, you're going to see considerably less money in your bank account. So probably also slow down the economy even further, so enjoy the 6%, 7% unemployment rate that you'd get under a Harris administration. It's basically, at this point, what more do you want? That could basically be the slogan for Donald Trump's campaign. On issue after issue, is he perfect? No. I'd cut taxes even further than that. I'd withdraw even more troops from foreign shores, not just not pump the numbers up further, etc., etc. But what more can I ask for? Fundamental transformation on the level that some people are expecting, politically speaking, isn't even physically possible because of Congress. And you don't know exactly what the composition of Congress, of course, will be after this election. What more can you possibly ask for, though, than what Trump is offering? And then when we look at who his opponent is, what more could you possibly expect in the way of things getting worse? Oh, basically, I'm going to be Biden on steroids. That's basically her slogan. When repeatedly pressed about it, she can't even think of something she would have done differently. Have the last 4 years been good? I don't think so. I think the last 4 years have been shit compared to the 4 years that come before that. So I know who I'm voting for, and everyone else should be piling in too. Don't sit it out. This election is actually very important, and it looks like it's going to come down to probably a few tens of thousands of votes in a handful of states again. If we can just rally, therefore, a handful more people, like bump up the numbers by 3-4%, ta-da, there's your election. It isn't even hard to do. Scott Presler has been showing us the way now for years. If Pennsylvania goes red, he's probably going to get some sort of goddamn award from the RNC as a result of this. Thankfully, it's now run by people that are a bit more MAGA than before. Although I would point out that Bitch McConnell is still doing the money shuffle thing and piling money into a combination of unwinnable races and races that you're guaranteed to win where you don't need to shovel money in, while ignoring some of the more vulnerable individuals, Republicans in Congress. Thankfully, he's no longer going to be the leader of the Senate, by the way, after the election. He's pledged that he's going to step down in that role, probably because he's old and dying, so that's a good thing. Let's see. Elon Musk and Ron Paul handling government waste and efficiency issues. Actually attempting to close the border. More tax relief, including, again, at least the possibility that the entire income tax system gets dismantled, necessitating, of course, the massive reduction of the IRS in the process. I'm sure that Ron Paul would strongly agree with that notion and would be leaning on Trump heavily. Having Ron Paul going to meetings in the White House sounds like a good idea. If only for that. How about sane foreign policy? We've got a number of proxy wars that we're currently involved in. Which person do I think is probably more likely to put the genie back at the bottle? Kamala Harris who's partying down with Liz Cheney, literally soliciting George W. Bush's endorsement at the moment, by the way. That's going to go over really well with millennial voters, by the way. I would point that out. Literally palling around with some of the worst warmongers in political history, or the dude who seems rather reluctant to rubber stamp wars in general and is willing to literally call most politicians, and he's not wrong, chicken hawks. They are. What more do you want? Would be my simple ass question. I mean, it ticks all the boxes. None of them perfectly, but all of them at least to a decent degree. None of them get ticked by a potential Harris campaign. So it's up to us now. There's no more time for activism per se, other than getting your lazy friend off the couch and forcing them to go vote. Other than that, and making a party day out of it with your family and friends, and then tuning in, of course, to my live election stream as the results start to come in. Other than that, that's basically the goal right now. So make sure to get that one reluctant friend. You still got time to knock on a couple of doors and then go vote on election day, because the alternative is completely terrible. Donald Trump represents a step in the right direction in again, multiple ways: foreign policy, the border, the economy, etc. Also an energy industry boom, potentially. That's something that our economy could use right now. Unemployment could drop even further. It is admittedly low, partially because job creation came in really, really low for the last month. By the way, at exactly the wrong time for the Harris campaign. Even some of the liberal commentators are like, ugh, that's not good. Hopefully it swings the election. You know, vote with your wallets if you have to. Most of you got a tax cut under Donald Trump. You're not going to get any tax cuts under Kamala Harris. She's lying through her teeth when she says, I'm going to lower taxes for 100 million Americans. No, you're not. You're a Democrat. Your own party probably wouldn't let you do it even if you did try. So, you know, what are you even talking about? Nobody's taken it. I don't even think that most of the Democratic partisan voters are taken in by that notion. They want to raise taxes for some inexplicable reason. It's almost like a form of political masochism at times. That's about all. Peace out.